I feel like the National League East is the perfect microcosm of what the National League is because you have so many teams you could see being competitive and winning it, and then they're just dog shit like the Miami Marlins. Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and we are once again continuing our preview of the 2025 MLB season. We're now going to the National League, and we're starting, of course, with the NL East. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network. The Lakers are now the 2 seed. Phil is going to be so insufferable. I would check out You Know Ball just to double check. Now, we begin with those unfortunately dog shit Miami Marlins. I try and be nice on this show, but I have no respect for this Marlins team whatsoever, quite frankly. I don't want to go on a whole rant here about how they've run this organization, but they were a playoff team 2 years ago. Didn't want to give Kim Nee the money to run the club the way she wanted it to, blew it up, and now this is the result. We start with the lineup. At catcher, you have Nick Fortes with his paltry 81 WRC plus. After him is Matt Mervis with a slightly better 90 WRC plus. Otto Lopez manned second with a almost league average 98 WRC plus. We fall back down to Connor Norby, who's got a projected 95 WRC plus. Oh my God, it's an above league average hitter. Xavier Edwards will be a shortstop with a 105 WRC plus. The outfield doesn't look much better. Kyle Stowers looks like he's going to be in left with a 95 WRC plus. Dane Myers is going to be in center with an 87 WRC plus. And the only other two competent hitters in the lineup is right fielder Jesus Sanchez with a 110 WRC plus and DH Jonah Bride with a 101 WRC plus. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this, quite honestly. There was that athletic anonymous survey with executives, and one of them told me I couldn't name you that many Miami Marlins. I don't even think I could do two. Yeah, I see why, because this lineup is bad. Like Amelia Perez, bad, quite frankly. And it's just sad because they had so much great talent come through the doors. Xavier Edwards is going to be fine. Jesus Sanchez looks like he's going to be the best hitter on this team. Might be their lone all-star. Who knows? But this is the worst lineup in baseball. Let's not waste any more time on it. The rotation looks better, but it's not the heights of that rotation in 2023. Coming back from Tommy John, you know him, you love him. It's Sandy Alcantara. He's projected to throw 188 and two-thirds innings coming off of Tommy John with 8.11 strikeouts per nine, 2.27 walks per nine, a flat 1 home run per nine, 3.81 ERA, and a 3.69 FIP. Alcantara, the big question with him is, after Tommy John, how much is he going to be pitching? Is his hallmark, his calling card, why he won the Cy Young in 2022? Is he threw more complete games than anybody that year. He threw more complete games than most teams did that season. He's kind of a throwback to the old school. I don't want to say old school. He threw 210 innings that year. But, he's eating innings. He's going deep in the games. He's giving you the best ball he can. He is your dad's favorite pitcher solely because he will pitch into the seventh inning. And coming off of Tommy John, you really have to limit the workload, get the most out of that repaired UCL. I don't see Alcantara touching 180 innings this year. I think they're going to be very conservative with him, try and boost his trade value for next year because the rebuild continues every year in Miami. But I still expect, about 160, 170 quality innings out of Alcantara. After him is Ryan Weathers, who's projected to throw 151 and two-thirds innings with 8 strikeouts per nine, 3.26 walks per nine, 1.21 home runs per nine, 4.18 ERA, and a 4.35 FIP. Edward Cabrera is after him. He's projected for 131 and two-thirds innings pitched, 9.74 strikeouts per nine, 4.22 walks per nine, 1.03 home runs per nine, 4.05 ERA, and a 4.05 FIP. If he just gets that command under control, I think Cabrera would be, right up there with Alcantara as just a phenomenal pitcher in this Marlins staff. They don't have the coaching to get it done, unfortunately, but I'm still looking forward to see if he can do it. After him is Max Meyer with 145 and a third innings pitched, 7.94 strikeouts per nine, 3.01 walks per nine, 1.16 home runs per nine, 4.24 ERA, and a 4.20 FIP. And rounding out this rotation is Cal Quantrill, who's projected to throw 146 and a third innings pitched, 6.74 ERA, or 6.74 strikeouts per nine, 3.27 walks per nine, 1.2 home runs per nine, 4.84 ERA, and a 4.78 FIP. Yuri Perez will be coming back and joining this rotation. And this rotation, is a solid one. It's not as fun as the 23 rotation. But, Alcantara, Weathers, Cabrera is a fine 1-2-3. I love Alcantara and Cabrera. Weathers I'm a little more shaky on. When Yuri Perez comes back, that is such a fun 1-3. They actually have such a fun 1-5 with him there. But the pitching is not good enough to carry this team, unfortunately. It's not a Mariners or a Dodgers rotation where they can do a lot of damage. It's a rotation full of a lot of guys who cannot be supported by their offense, unfortunately. But the bullpen, just as solid. Closer this year looks to be Calvin Fauché, who's projected to have 9.15 strikeouts per nine, 3.70 walks per nine, 0.97 home runs per nine, 3.92 ERA, and a 3.90 FIP. But do not let future Dodger Anthony Bender disappoint here, because he's projected for 9.22 strikeouts per nine, 3.23 walks per nine, 0.92 home runs per nine, 3.67 ERA, 3.68 FIP. Those two are really going to be carrying the load for a very solid Marlins bullpen. Is as much as I make fun of this team, is the bullpen is solid, the rotation is good. It's just they're really held back by their lineup, and the fact that they play at Lone Depot Park doesn't do them any favors either. I think this is going to be a interesting team to watch if you're a pitching enthusiast, but for the most part, it's the Marlins are in town. Tickets are like $5. You want to go? That's going to be the legacy of this Marlins team, unfortunately, because they could have been so much more if they just had competent ownership. Speaking of teams with slightly incompetent ownership, we have the Washington Nationals. Now, this is everybody's kind of dark horse team, like, oh, the Nationals, they can make noise this year. And I wish I could get on that hype train. I really do. And I know how this sounds coming from me, the guy who picked the Red Sox to finish second in the AL East based on their prospect hype. But the difference is the Red Sox kind of have the infrastructure around their prospects to, be good. The Nationals don't have it. Let's get into it. Lineup here at catcher, Dodgers legend Kyber Ruiz is projected for a 99 WRC plus. There at first is going to be Nathaniel Lowe and his 114 WRC plus. Second base will be manned by Luis Garcia Jr. and his 110 WRC plus. Paul DeJong and his abhorrent 78 WRC plus is going to be at third. Gambling man himself, CJ Abrams, is going to be at sharp with the 107 WRC plus. In left field is one of those aforementioned very hyped up prospects. James Wood is going to be there with a 122 projected WRC plus. Jacob Young will man center with a not so great projection of an 86 WRC plus. Dylan Cruz will be in right with a 97 WRC plus. Fangraphs is not that high on him this year. I am, but we'll see. And DH, returning to Nationals Park, will be Josh Bell with his projected 109 WRC plus. Now, I want to talk about James Woods a little bit, but for me, I want to talk about Dylan Cruz, but for me, James Woods is the far more interesting prospect here. He's what I like to call the plutonic ideal of Joey Gallo. And what I mean by that is Joey Gallo, he's the three true outcomes man. He strikes out a lot, he walks a lot, he hits the ball hard, and he hits a lot of home runs. And here's the thing, is James Wood does that, but he doesn't have as big of a hole in his swing as Gallo does. Because, oh my God, this dude hits the fucking shit out of the baseball, man. It is so much fun to watch. On top of that, too, he walks a lot. He's a good defender. He's got a lot of speed. I think he is going to be one of the most fun players to watch this year. I really hope, the Nationals team really lives up to expectations because James Wood should really be playing in the national spotlight. One of the most fun players in baseball. The rotation, unfortunately, does not do a lot to support this, what could be a very potent lineup here for the Nationals. The ace, you know him, you love him, it's Mackenzie Gore. He's projected to throw 174 in the third innings pitched with 9.69 strikeouts per nine, 3.36 walks per nine, 1.11 home runs per nine for a 3.74 ERA and a 3.87 FIP. After him is Swervin' Jake Irvin. He's projected for 169 innings with 7.51 strikeouts per nine, 2.90 walks per nine, 1.29 home runs per nine, 4.33 ERA and a 4.46 FIP. Mitchell Park will follow him with his 155 in a third innings of 7.9 strikeouts per nine, 3.29 walks per nine, 1.30 home runs per nine, 4.26 ERA and a 4.47 FIP. Trevor Williams will be the 4 in this rotation with 116 innings with 7.92 strikeouts per nine, 2.65 walks per nine, 1.39 home runs per nine, 4.45 ERA, 4.55 FIP. And Braves legend Michael Soroka will round out the rotation with 117 in the third innings pitched, 8.38 strikeouts per nine, 3.54 walks per nine, 1.20 home runs per nine, 4.26 ERA, 4.38 FIP. Overall, this rotation has a lot of control, not a lot of great stuff. Mackenzie Gore looks to be a very good pitcher. He hasn't really lived up to that, number one status he was projected, but he's still a very good pitcher overall. After him, you have a lot of control freaks, but you don't have a lot of, good stuff to back it up. And unfortunately, you need a lot of good stuff if it is a stuff-driven league. They'll give you a lot of good innings. They're not going to give you a lot of great quality, dependable innings here. And I think that's really what's holding this team back. Because the bullpen they have, as a lot of bullpens do these days, but I think they might have the two-headed monster in the NL East. And that's, of course, Kyle Finnegan and Jorge Lopez. Finnegan is projected for 8.81 strikeouts per nine, 3.34 ERA, 1.04 home runs per nine, 3.82 ERA, 3.92 FIP. There's a reason why Finnegan was on the wish list for every team who needed bullpen help last year. Nationals kept him for a reason. He fits their timeline. He is such a good closer. But do not discount Jorge Lopez. He's not going to hit the highs he once had, but he is still a dependable arm in that bullpen. He's projected for 7.7 strikeouts per nine, 3.22 walks per nine, 1.03 home runs per nine, 3.98 ERA, 4.16 SIT. Overall, I like this Nationals team. I just wish I liked them more. Wood and Cruz are going to be so much fun together. Abrams is a great shortstop. But other than that, you're not really supplementing them with talent. The Lerner family spent no money in the offseason whatsoever to bring in, a Pete Alonso, somebody that can provide veteran leadership to this team, and they just didn't do it. So I'm sorry, the sexy dark horse pick is going to the glue factory. I hate to say it. But we all know about the class of the NL East. It's the Mets, it's the Braves, it's the Phillies. What order do I have them finishing in? You're going to have to wait till we hear a word from our sponsor.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it.
Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro, look at this.
I won $200. I tailed your parlay.
How the heck did you win $200?
I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you got to hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
Now, in third place, I have the New York Mets. Yeah, I know. But I'm not as bullish on this Mets team. I'm going to tell you why right now. Lineup, not really going to be an issue here. Francisco Alvarez is the catcher. He's projected for a 112 WRC+. Big Meat Pete himself is back at first base with a 124 WRC+ projection. Former batting champion Jeff McNeil mans second base with a 108 WRC+. Mark Vientos, one of the stars of last season for them, is projected for a 119 WRC+ at third. You know him. You love him. Could have been MVP if someone didn't go 50-50. I'm sorry, Francisco. He's at shortstop with a 122 projected WRC+. Brandon Nimmo mans left with a 119 WRC+. Jose Siri, sorry, didn't mean to set off your phone there. He's in center field with a projected 83 WRC+. The man, the myth, the legend, the very well-compensated Juan Soto is in right with a 169 WRC+. And at DH, the plutonic ideal of a platoon bat himself, Jesse Winker, is going to be there with a 117 WRC+. And quite frankly, this lineup looks so good on paper, but I have some question marks. We know the adjustments the staff made with Jeff McNeil in the second half to make him a phenomenal hitter right back to that batting champion form. Can it be sustained, especially after the injury he had to end the season? I don't think so. I'm with Fangraphs on this one. I'm a little bullish on his projections. I don't think he's going to hit the highs he had in the second half. I think he's going to be about a league average bat, 100, maybe even a 98 WRC+. I just don't see it in him anymore. And for me, the big question mark in this lineup is Mark Vientos. Again, you know this about me. I do not like free swingers whatsoever. You have to have a approach at the plate, and Vientos just doesn't have it, man. He chases 32.3% of the time, 24th percent in baseball. He whiffs 34.4% of the time, fourth percentile in baseball. On breaking stuff, he whiffs over 40% of the time. There is a very obvious weakness he has, and they will exploit the shit out of it this year. I think he can make the adjustment, but I'm not trusting that necessarily because I've seen so many times like, oh, he just needs to hit the curveball. He just needs to hit the slider. He's not shown he can do it. I'm not betting on him until he starts to show he can do it. And on top of that, too, like he walks at a below average clip. As Vientos was so important to this Mets team last year, I don't expect that same production for him, quite honestly. I think he's going to fall off a cliff hard. But if he makes the adjustments on breaking stuff, who knows? I'm not betting on it. I never bet on this kind of stuff. I will continue not to bet on it. Now, the big question mark I have for the Mets here is their rotation. We know how good Kodai Senga is. He is the ace of the staff here. He's projected for 163 and a third innings with 9.75 strikeouts per nine, 3.63 walks per nine, 1.08 home runs per nine, 3.78 ERA, and a 3.89 FIP. Look, Senga was banged up last year. He was not healthy whatsoever. But that forkball, man, that sting is beautiful. That fastball is great. When healthy, he's going to be a fantastic arm for this Mets rotation. I think he'll bounce back and be healthy. After him is going to be Sean Manaea with 162 and a third projected innings with 9.03 strikeouts per nine, 3.17 walks per nine, 1.26 home runs per nine, 4.04 ERA, and a 4.18 FIP. He is the man that is going to be breaking pitching development for at least the next couple years because the whole thing with him is he dropped the arm, has a funky delivery. Any lefty who is struggling now is going to try and drop the arm slot and create a funky delivery. It worked for Manaea. I don't think it's going to work for everybody, but still a great reclamation story and a great story overall because he struggled for a little bit. I'm glad he's starting to live up to that potential he has. After him is going to be another lefty, David Peterson. He's projected for 152 and two-thirds innings of 8.2 strikeouts per nine, 3.47 walks per nine, 0.97 home runs per nine, 3.72 ERA, on 4.03 FIP. Peterson looks to build off a very solid campaign last year. I just want him to throw a little bit more innings here, and I think he'll be fine. After him are the two big question marks I have here. We're starting off, of course, with Clay Holmes. Yeah, that's right. Former Yankees closer, the man who was supposed to replace Mariano Rivera as the closer. He's a starting pitcher now. He's projected for 152 and two-thirds innings pitch, which I think is very, very generous of them, with 8.41 strikeouts per nine, 3.61 walks per nine, 0.71 home runs per nine, 3.55 ERA, and a 3.69 FIP. Now, I'm not going to get into like how deep he can pitch into games, why they think he can be a starter. There's not really any evidence of that. I don't want to speculate too much on that. I just want to go on what we do know, and what we do know is the man keeps the ball on the ground. Man, 64.6% ground ball rate, far and away one of the best in baseball. But Lindor is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting here. Is Vientos, poor defender at third. McNeil, average defender. Alonso, poor defender. Thank God they have Lindor, or a lot of these balls are getting through the infield because this infield without him would have more holes than a piece of Swiss cheese. And, he has decent strikeout rate, decent whiff rate. But for me, you have two success stories, really, of turning relievers into starters. That is Seth Lugo, Reynaldo Lopez. But there's so many more failures here. They had to move Jordan Hicks back into the bullpen in San Francisco when they tried it with him. I just do not see Clay Holmes being a starting pitcher. I don't think I'm going to be wrong on this one. It is few and far between the successes. And the Mets, they're really high on the success of, we did so much work. We reclaimed so many of these guys. Yeah, as a Dodgers fan whose whole pitching principle for the 2020s going up until last season was, we can reclaim these guys. We can make them good. I don't want to relive the James Paxton and Noah Syndergaard experiment because God was that awful. And I get it. We reclaimed Andrew Heaney. We did a lot of great work, but we failed a lot more than we succeeded. And if you're betting on reclamation products, you're going to fail a lot more than you succeed. David Peterson is a fantastic baseball mind. I just don't think he can do this constantly, make it sustainable. And that's really a shame because a lot of their money is tied up in this lineup, and that's kind of what they have to do. I don't think it's going to be successfy. And I haven't even talked about their five-starter yet. Paul Blackburn will be the starter in this rotation. He's projected for only 119 and a third innings, 7.70 strikeouts per nine, 2.60 walks per nine, 1.23 home runs per nine, 4.15 ERA, 4.21 FIP. Again, looking to be another reclamation success story here. Not necessarily buying it just yet. But in the bullpen, you know him, you love him. The trumpets are coming out here. It's Edwin Diaz. He's projected for 12.48 strikeouts per nine, 3.34 walks per nine, 0.84 home runs per nine, 2.94 ERA, 2.86 FIP. If you want to call last season a struggle for Edwin Diaz, go right ahead. But if that's him struggling, that's just how good he is. When he is on, he is the best closer in baseball. Even when he's not on, you can make an argument for him being the best closer in baseball. He is going to lock down the ninth for him. After him, I want to highlight Ryan Stanek. He's projected for 10.2 strikeouts per nine, 3.8 walks per nine, 1.15 ERA, 3.78 ERA, and a 3.94 FIP. Is Stanek, you know how good he was in Houston. I think he's got that one more good season in him. If it's that Houston Ryan Stanek, my God, is that a great 1-2 in that bullpen for the Mets. Now in second place, I got the reigning champions, the Philadelphia Phillies here. And this might be, honestly, their last chance before they have to reset and reload here. They got a lot of expiring contracts. They got a lot of aging players here. So let's see how they do in what may be, I don't want to say Bryce Harper's last dance. Let's be honest here. And what may be Kyle Schwarber's last dance. That's right. I compared Kyle Schwarber to Michael Jordan. I'm not sorry about that one. At catcher, we have JT Realmuto. He has fallen hard from his once great best catcher in baseball heights. He's still great defensively. Offensively, he's projected for a 101 WRC+. Yikes. Now we have Mr. formerly overrated but now beloved, the raw milk drinker himself, Bryce Harper. He's projected for a 142 WRC+ at first. At second base, Bryson Stott and his endless what ifs is projected for 102 WRC+ there. At third, we have, oh my God, please just take him somebody, Alec Boehm with a 111 WRC+. Shortstop is the ovation man himself, Trey Turner with a 114 projected WRC+. German legend Max Kepler will be in left with a 102 projection of a WRC+. The new best beard in baseball after Charlie Blackmon retired, Brandon Marsh is in center with a 104 WRC+. The tragedy man himself will be in right. Nick Castellanos is 102 WRC+ projected. And the Michael Jordan of baseball, apparently, Kyle Schwarber in his 128 WRC+ will be DH. This lineup, on paper, it looks so good, but there is no protection for Bryce Harper. If you want to say Alec Boehm, go right ahead. I'm sure Dave Dombrowski would love to trade with you in that scenario. But, Castellanos is falling off a cliff hard. I don't trust Kepler. I don't trust Stott. I don't trust Realmuto. 1 through 3, this lineup is fantastic. Arguably can go toe with that 1 through 3 in LA, that 1 through 3 in San Diego. The best 1 through 3s in the National League and the best 1 through 3s in baseball. But after that, they are falling off a cliff hard, as they need to support Bryce Harper, get him some protection, or he's just going to walk every single time he comes up to the plate because no pitcher's going to face him if the consequences of putting him on base is Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm. I'm sorry. But the rotation is where this team also really makes its bread and butter here. You know him, you love him. He's the best pitcher in baseball until I see a full season out of Paul Skeens. But that's going to be Zach Wheeler. He's projected to throw just shy of 200 innings with 198 and 2/3 innings with 9.63 strikeouts per nine, 2.3 walks per nine, 1.04 home runs per nine, 3.33 ERA, and a 3.43 FIP. What can you say about Zach Wheeler at this point? He's just so good. He's consistent, gets a lot of strikeouts, will get you 200 innings, which is basically the gold standard at this point in Major League Baseball. After him is Philly legend Aaron Nola. He's projected for 187 and 2/3 innings, 8.88 strikeouts per nine, 2.15 walks per nine, 1.27 home runs per nine, 3.85 ERA, and a 3.84 FIP. Overall, Nola, again, you know what you're getting out of him. Solid innings eater, great stuff, really dependable arm. Love Aaron Nola to death. After him will be Christopher Sanchez, projected to throw 169 and 2/3 innings with 7.88 strikeouts per nine, 2.52 walks per nine, 0.88 home runs per nine, 3.48 ERA, and a 3.63 FIP. After him is famously dugout first half Cy Young winner of the 2024 season. Give it up for Ranger Suarez. He's projected for 167 innings with 8.13 strikeouts per nine, 2.85 walks per nine, .94 home runs per nine, 3.60 ERA, 3.77 FIP. Yeah, that take from mine didn't age the best, but Suarez is still a very good pitcher. Great command, just not the best stuff. Love him to death, though. And after him, it's Jesus Luzardo, the king of potential himself. He's projected for 161 in a third innings pitched, 9.27 strikeouts per nine, 3.07 walks per nine, 1.3 home runs per nine, 3.94 ERA, and a 4.12 FIP. And I know they're hitting on the potential and the bounce back of Luzardo, but I don't think he's going to be that great for them because he's moving from the cavernous Lone Depot Park to the very hitter-friendly Citizens Bank Park. And that in and of itself is very concerning, but the fastball, man, it fell off from 2023 to 2024. It lost 1.6 miles per hour, has no deviation and observed spin. Basically, if you think the ball's here and there's some deviation, it goes here. But if there's no deviation, it's here, then it's here. Basically, hitters are not being fooled by the fastball, and it's slower. You really saw that in the run value. Like, everything about his fastball was just bad last year. Breaking stuff looked better, really defined by that slower changeup with a little more induced break on it. But I just think he's going to struggle a lot. This is a very powerful, hard-hitting division. This is a very powerful, hard-hitting National League in general. And to really play in one of the more hitter-friendly ballparks in the league after really succeeding because of how big Lone Depot Park is, I'm not really bullish on Luzardo. But in the bullpen, they have a lot of question marks, mainly who's going to close for this team. They brought in Jordan Romano here. Fangraphs is projecting him to bounce back. He's projected for 9.61 strikeouts per nine, 3.45 walks per nine, 1.16 home runs per nine, 3.89 ERA, 3.99 FIP. I really want Jordan Romano to bounce back. I've always secretly admired him. He's one of my favorite closers in the league. I just don't see it. He looked really, really rough last year in Toronto. I don't think he's going to recapture the form here. Who should be closing for this team is Orion Kirkring. He's projecting for 10.33 strikeouts per nine, 3.06 walks per nine, 0.87 home runs per nine, 3.20 ERA, and a 3.31 FIP. Yes, he doesn't have that ninth inning experience, and you need to have ninth inning experience. But he is just so damn good, man. He's got good stuff, good command. I think he is the best arm in this bullpen. And it's going to be like a month or two before Kirkring takes the closer's job. I guarantee it. But in first place, last year was a disappointment. The year before was a disappointment. The year before that was a disappointment. The year before that, we don't talk about because the Dodgers team should have won the World Series. God damn it. And the year before that was a disappointment. Shout out to the 3-1 comeback. But this may finally be their year. Right? I'm, of course, talking about the Atlanta Braves. They're betting on a lot of injury bounce backs here to make this lineup work whatsoever. And already Sean Murphy went down. Let's get into it. Sean Murphy, he's going to miss the first month of the season with some cracked ribs, but I still think he's going to be a fine catcher. He's projected for a 105 WRC plus there. Matt Olson will be at first with his projected 127 WRC plus. The most underpaid man in baseball himself, Ozzie Albies, will be at shorts or at second with a projected 112 WRC plus. Yes, I put him in the top 20. Stop yelling at me about it. Austin Riley is at third base with a projected 126 WRC plus. At shortstop, is this finally his year? No, but maybe it might be. It's Orlando Arcia with a projected 90 WRC plus. In left field, oh, I'm sorry. Can hang in San Diego? Were you sad because you have to see the Dodgers all the time? It's Jerson Profar with a 113 projected WRC plus. Atlanta legend Michael Harris Jr. Michael Harris II, will man center field with his projected 124 WRC plus. God, that is very generous of them. In right field, it's former top prospect Jared Kelenic with his 97 projected WRC plus. It doesn't say there's a DH for this team, but whoever it is projected for a 122 WRC plus. Great hitter, terrible person. Still not going to acknowledge them on this show. And of course, Ronald Acuna Jr. will be coming back to take Kelenic's spot in right field. This lineup, they just have to stop swinging for the fences, man. I get it. Home runs are sexy. They win you games. What's the stats? 71% of the time. If you're at home or your opponent in the playoffs, you win the game. I get it. But for God's sakes, just put the ball in play, and you guys will be so good. you have so many guys here, but Jesus Christ, man, I'm not even a fan of the team, and I get upset watching these guys with runners in scoring position sometimes. Rotation looks good, but a lot of question marks here, not only in terms of health, but can you live up to the potential that you're being projected here? We start, of course, with the health question. Reigning Cy Young winner Chris Sale, he's projected for 186 and 2/3 innings pitched, 11.09 strikeouts per nine, 2.27 walks per nine, 0.94 home runs per nine, 3.07 ERA, and a 2.9 FIP. Is Sale, he was healthy for the first time since 2018, and my God, was he dominant. He put together the best season of his career in Atlanta, and I really want him to stay healthy. He is so damn good. You know about the fastball, you know about the slider. But for me, the big question mark with Chris Sale is unfortunately health. Is you saw he couldn't even get through the full season when he won the Cy Young. He was unavailable down the stretch and in the most important games of the Braves season here. He tried his damnedest, couldn't pitch in either the big games against the Mets in Atlanta or the wild card series in San Diego. Unfortunately, Chris Sale is someone who you always have to hedge your bets health-wise. If he's healthy, my God, is he going to be one of the best pitchers in the league. I'm just not going to necessarily count on it going forward. Again, another arm who was injured but still very good. One of those success stories of turning a reliever into a starter, Ronaldo Lopez. He's projected for 179 innings with 9.53 strikeouts per nine, 3.06 walks per nine, 1.12 home runs per nine, 3.91 ERA, and a 3.78 FIP. After him is the sexy dark horse pick of the NL Cy Young race. That, of course, is Spencer Schwellenbach with his 172 projected innings of 8.7 strikeouts per nine, 2.3 walks per nine, 1.11 home runs per nine, 3.79 ERA, and a 3.71 FIP. Dodgers legend Grant Holmes will be the fourth starter in this rotation with 111 and a third innings of 8.10 strikeouts per nine, 2.88 walks per nine, 1.20 home runs per nine, 4.28 ERA, and a 4.18 FIP. As someone who is very high on Grant Holmes in his time with the Dodgers, his very brief time with the Dodgers, but still, I'm just so glad he's finally getting a shot and really living up to that first round billing. I am very excited to watch him this year. He was, of course, one of Foolish Baseball's 5 pitchers I like this season. I'm not necessarily that high on him, but I'm just glad he's finally having success in the big leagues. And of course, 2021 legend Ian Anderson himself will be the 5 starter until Spencer Strider comes back. He's projected for 101 innings of 7.65 strikeouts per nine, 3.52 walks per nine, 1.10 home runs per nine, 3.37 ERA, 3.33 FIP. They got a lot of good arms in this rotation, but it's health question marks, it's stuff question marks. Ian Anderson is back in the big leagues for the first time since I want to say like 2022, and I like him, but I don't necessarily love him. Grant Holmes, you're really hoping he can live up to that first round billing. Schwellenbach, again, you're hoping he takes that next leap. Lopez and Sale, you're just hoping they stay healthy. And Spencer Strider, you're hoping he comes back and really looks like that strikeout artist he was before he got injured, because my God, he's some of the most fun to let. And he's got a good mustache too, so. And in the bullpen, Raisel Iglesias is going to be the closer. He's projected for 9.96 strikeouts per nine, 2.45 walks per nine, 1.04 home runs per nine, 3.45 ERA, 3.38 FIP. And Aaron Bummer will be the primary setup man with 10.06 strikeouts per nine, 3.54 walks per nine, 0.63 home runs per nine, 3.09 ERA, and a 3.16 FIP. Overall, this Braves bullpen is going to be decent, not necessarily the best. They're really counting on that powerful lineup, that great rotation full of a lot of question marks to get the job done. In earnest, I feel like this might be their last great chance here, as a lot of the pieces are getting older. This lineup's looking a little injury prone. They tried to build a dynasty, didn't necessarily work, but they're still one of the most consistent teams year in and year out, and I will never pick against this team as long as that core group is under contract, because they're just so damn good. But what do you think? Was I too mean to the Braves about their postseason failures? I'm a Dodgers fan. I know about it. Are the Nationals really the dark horse and I just don't believe in them? Or am I too low on the Mets? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball.